All right. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for joining today's session. If you've been on any of my sessions before, you know you're in for a treat. Today, we're talking about how to leverage your sales funnel, how to think about what it is that you're going to be doing in your business for 2026, right? So this year, 2025, there was a lot of changes, a lot of things happening rapidly. And we know with the evolution of AI, because AI has always been here, but with the evolution of AI and different tools, it's really important for you to think about how it is that you can leverage it so that you can, of course, create a deeper connection and ultimately convert more leads into paying clients and customers. So, regardless of what it is that you're selling, it's important for you to think about how it is that you're going to leverage your marketing, but also your sales funnel as well. And just really looking at how your sales funnel is evolving, because your sales funnel doesn't look like the way that it did 3 years ago, even a year ago, right? So just really think about how it is that you're going to be able to leverage it and put yourself in the position to be able to create a bigger impact and generate more revenue with that as well. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see here. See, pull this up. Hello, good morning. Let's see, entire screen. I just testing out this new tool. I wanted to see if there's an alternative to Zoom. Okay, let's see. All right. Is it pulling up? It's still loading. Hey, Ashley, how are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Good. Just still trying. Can you see my screen?
Not anymore.
Can you see it now?
No.
That's weird. Okay. Let's see. Try this again. Okay. Can you see now?
It says it's setting up a screen share, and then it kind of disappears.
Okay. All right. Well, we're just gonna keep rolling with this. I think it stopped sharing. But anyhow. All right. So I'll just read from my notes and we will just kind of take it from there. For as people come on as well, they can, and if you're watching the replay as well, you will be able to kind of follow through. But one of the things that's going to be important as you plan for 2026 in your business, just think about where it is that you are right now and what's important for your business. So I guess I'll pose this question. Um, what's working right now and what's not working? You want to go ahead?
As far as funnels, I don't have solid funnels built, and that's what's not working. Is that I've overcomplicated in my mind, and I think juggling the many roles. That's why I'm joining this one today to see like where I need to go with it. So like as I'm updating my website to make sure that it funnels into the right places, I just want to make sure that I'm going in as strong as possible when the new year starts. So
Okay, and what is it that you're selling? Remind me.
I have products and services for work-life balance.
Okay, and then who is it that you're ultimately serving?
Ultimately, it's women like 35 plus, and then families and entrepreneurs
Okay, what are you supporting them with?
navigating like a life transition. So, like birth, marriage, adoption, homeschool, those type of things with project management services for start to finish.
Okay, so like what are some things that they are thinking right now? What's something that's they're struggling with right now?
For moms, primarily is like doing it all, because usually they're working in some capacity, whether it's full time or at home. They want to implement a system, and it's just a bunch going on. So I think that's the main thing. I really want to focus on how to leverage AI tools. That's what I've been focused on myself, and how that's really working well. And a lot of people don't know how to really maximize AI either. So to have like a quick way that actually works for you versus like all these things out there that aren't as custom.
Okay, sounds good. So with that being said, I'm just trying to understand, like, what's the pain point? Like, what's the thing that's making them say, you know what, I need to get help?
I think it's the sacrifice of either work or family. So it's just like something has to give. And a lot of times it's like one or the other. So how do you balance both and have those in-house operations?
Okay, let me see if this will work now. It's still saying there's still okay, I'm not sure why it's not bringing up. But anyhow, I will definitely send out the slides. Are you seeing anything now or no?
It disappeared again.
Okay. Anyways, so all right. So where are so what's so what are the take me through the steps to that they're going to take before they buy your offer?
As steps as far as like visiting the website,
Yeah,
getting
or
an
like
email,
what's
or
like what's the first step they're going to take when they feel like overwhelmed and to that point where they're like, okay, I need to find a solution. Like, what's the first step that they're going to take?
with me, it'll be an intake form to see what the actual sticky area is, and then working backwards.
So before they even find you, what's happening? What's going through their mind? Like, what's some of the myths that they have? Like, what are some of the misconceptions? What are the things that they're like the pain, like the thing that struggle?
Mhm.
Usually, it has to. People have to get to a point where they're like, okay, you know what? Um, I need to change something. I need to get help. There's clearly something happening here. So, like, what's that thing? Because what you would need to do is you need to be able to create content around that thing.
Right. So I would say it's probably like missed deadlines or events for children, or feeling burnt out that you're sleeping and your children have things to do, or that you're not able to make dinner and you've meal prep, but now you have unhealthy options and you're just kind of like, how do I balance all of these things? Because now I'm spending a ton of money on fast foods because I don't have a system in place for actually giving meals to the children throughout the day, especially if they're home. So those are kind of the things that's coming down to, like, I'm tired and I know there has to be a better way.
Right. So what you would need to do then, you might want to take note of it, is to start with creating content around those specific pain points and then telling them like the very necessary next step. And the very necessary next step isn't to work with you, isn't an intake form. It's just like a quick win, something that they can implement really quickly. That's going
Mhm.
to get them like a bit of a result. Obviously,
Mhm.
it's not going to be the full gamut of what it is that you offer, but just a quick
Mhm.
result. And then if they want to go deeper, then they do you have like an email system set up where you're sending out content frequently?
No. As far as content generating, that's what I'm working on now, because it's really just been like not targeted. I was like moving who I wanted to. I was like, didn't want to be shoehorned into women, but that's the, like, the data says that's the primary people that are dealing with this. So I was just going based off of data.
Right. And also to like the way how women deal with stress and how women deal with these changes are going to be completely different from men, right? So I feel as if it's probably easier to reach out to women, and women are more likely to admit that this is something that they're struggling with than men are. So what I want you to think about is to think about the behavior signals of these people,
Mm-hmm.
and the behavior signals will allow for you to understand what kind of content to create.
Mm-hmm.
And then based off of that, what I would suggest you doing between now and the end of this month is to map out some kind of content calendar based off of all of these like pain points, like, or even just start off with one of the big pain points and then branching off from there, the different elements of that pain or how that pain shows up, and then also map out what are some milestones that your system provides: day 7, day 14, day 21, and day 45. And then just look at how it is that you're going to consistently reach out to them, nurture relationship with them, but also track your analytics as well. Like, have you set up like a social media and everything for this?
Yes.
Okay. And what stats have you seen? Like, what's the results? Like, what stats have you been able to
See,
collect?
the stats from my old post was really leaning towards male demographic. That's why I was kind of torn as far as like engagement. And like right now, most of my engagement is like non-followers. So I think the people that I have now on my page is kind of like stale. I don't want to like start new completely, but I don't think that it's really honing in on my people.
Okay, so you need to speak very specific and speak very directly to those people.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, and then look at your analytics too, right? I mean, don't get obsessed with it, but the analytics and the data will tell you what people are interested in, um, the types of content. Just look at the type of content you get the highest level of engagement with, and then what kind of offering is it that you're going to be providing?
Service wise, it would be the project management is the offering that it would be. So whatever it is. Mm-hmm.
What does a project manage like? When you say project
So
management?
we'll build out a work plan and build out a RACI to see like who needs to be involved, what resources that we have, and then how long until we get to that goal.
Okay, and then what does that contain? Like, how does that container, like, what does that package look like?
As far as like
Pricing, the length of time, like how much touch point is there?
right now it's in 8 weeks, but I'm like I said, I'm switching everything out because I really wanted to go B2B and work with HR and have that start as like 5,000 because I know a lot of them navigate more.
Yeah.
Okay. Because a lot of what I do aligns with if you think of someone that's using HR services and they have to contact HR. I just had a baby, I just had a divorce, I just had a relocation, and now things are changing. I've just had a death. And they're usually referred to an organization that's like Life Solutions, that's like generic. You can call, get some assistant program, maybe a therapist, things like that. But the difference would be working with me is that it's all in-house and customized, and it's not necessarily like this stranger that's giving you a worksheet and saying, here's the places you can call, but we can actually build that roadmap together on what it is that help you get through this life-changing event. Because oftentimes it's like you want the world to stop so you can just do what you need to do, but the world doesn't stop. So if we can put a system in place so that you can keep going when you know you're like on that J curve, then that's where I would want to do more togetherness and walk the person through it rather than going through a call center somewhere where it's like all these things are free to you as an employee, but are you even able to maximize the benefit? And then taking it a layer deeper, add-ons would be using astrology or the cosmos to direct them based on your style, your temperament, what you actually need to have your regulated nervous system with the systems we put in place. Or if it would be like on a corporate side, I also do DISC. So having a DISC assessment to know your communication style, and then building out what you need, your team resources, whether it's family, close friends, coworkers, so that you can get to the next part of the project, using the word.
Okay. And do you have a background in HR?
HR and project management.
Okay. So what have you been able to gather from that directly shows as like a buy-in? Like what's the immediate buy-in for a company, and like what size companies are you targeting?
I wanted to start with small, although I know the budgets usually with like in the area I am is like larger health systems and things like that. But employee well-being and job quality is like important right now. I know there's a lot of changes with like government funding where it's not like money specific aside from that, but as far as HR standpoint and benefits, it's still there and there's still a need. So that's where I'm trying to go in with, like, you don't want your employees to be burnt out. You don't want to feel cold where it's like, oh, sorry, someone died. You have 2 days off and then it's back to work. And it's like, how do you adjust with that? How do you give some type of humanized experience where someone is going through a transition that could be abruptly impacting their life in a good or bad way?
Right. What about like licensing it?
I never thought about that.
Yeah, like when you're saying that, because I'm just thinking for smaller companies and even like smaller companies that I consult with, like sometimes like having that tailored approach is great, but like that may not be accessible to them, right? So if you created something that was licensed where they're paying, sometimes some companies, you know, may be able to pay upwards of like $25,000-$30,000 a year per year for licensing, and that may give access to, you know, 5 users a year or something like that. Like that is something that that's something that I'm also working on with myself to like build out. But I think that that would be a really good way to provide that service to smaller organizations or companies, because yes, their well-being of their employees is important. So I think I think licensing, but I think it would be good to just have a few where you've kind of done the whole tailored thing, like at least 3 to 5, and then from that you can understand, okay, what would this licensing look like? Like what would this? It would almost kind of be like a self-paced kind of thing, and then if the organization or company, I'm assuming like companies under 100 employees are like what's considered small, so to speak. Like you could have like 10,000 employees and still be considered a small company. But if a company has under 100 employees, I think at the $25,000 to $30,000 a year licensing, that would be something that they would be interested in. I'm just thinking also that you could also, so do the 3 to 5, like do those like hands-on kind of build out, then see what are some of the key pillars or what your framework is from that, and then you can create like a course or self-paced kind of container, and then you can license that. So that might be something, and that could also be something very lucrative as well. Are you thinking about doing anything for like entrepreneurs, or are you just thinking specifically for companies, like the actual?
Entrepreneurs as well, and typically within the entrepreneur space that it is moms that may be balancing both, like myself. And I have worked with a few entrepreneurs already that they want to implement some systems and say, okay, like what can I use to stay on track with what I have going on? And some it was just like have a business, but then they experience some type of loss or grief. So it's like, how do we do the things in between? And so right now, I think most of the interest is like for 2026 was the focus on how can we use AI more as a collaborative partner to get more things done. So my experience from that.
Yes, I mean, for like, I think AI too, I think sometimes people overcomplicate it. Just, you know, like I'm not sure how familiar you are with like AI agents. Have you ever built any agents?
Yeah.
Okay. So like they can just, you know, utilizing that would be a really good way to automate, systemize some things. Even for your, like, even for your stats, and you know, like a lot of the platforms now have like some kind of AI functionality, so you can use that to see like be able to even gather more information as well, like looking at your open rates. So like when you start sending out emails and things like that, looking at the open rates, but don't look just at the open rates. I always believe in looking at 2 variables together, so open rate and click-through rate versus conversion rate, conversion rate versus repeat sales, right? So it's really about setting up your system in a way that you're not just, people are not just buying from you once, but buying from you over, right? And then what does that like entrepreneurs, solopreneur offer look like?
Well, as of right now, it's just been one-on-one consulting, like paying by the hour. But I really, and then we have like a group where we do bi-weekly and touch base together on what we're trying to get done. But I wanted to actually build that into a framework because right now it's an hour, $200, and we get through what we need to, and we have our 7 day to do or 2 week to do. Most of it's on a consistent basis. But I'm like, right now, I wanted to be like, how do I not have to be me and for multiple people, but have us all together?
Right. So it would start with actually mapping out your framework, and then it could be something that, how do you feel about like delivering things like pre-recorded?
I never thought about doing pre-recorded. It could be. I
Right.
usually like think of like having it conversational, but
Right. Because I mean, it could be. I mean, I'm not saying you should. That's just an option. But then I think if you have the framework, then you're working off of something very directed and organized. And then if you do a few cohorts, then you can after pull, the replay and kind of repackage it into something that's like kind of self-paced as well. Um, and do you have like a launch plan as well?
no. Not of right now. As of right now, my plan is just to like I have a physical space where we're actually about to have an event later today, and it's kind of woven in to the business. So that was the main thing of like focus on the physical space in the products as it relates to the transition people are going through. But I'm just like doing it. Like
Okay, so are the people you're serving are people who are local to you?
right.
Okay,
For the physical space, yeah.
okay, and then what? Okay, so what's a priority, I guess, right now?
That's true because everything is a priority right now. Because the physical space is definitely a priority, but I think ultimately it's going to be on the service side of things is really the priority, and having that framework in place. I would think for the entrepreneur side because that's who is like the most traction as of right now. I don't have that established connection to go to HRs. Like I know people there, but actually presenting the full offering, I don't. But so that the least resistance would be to entrepreneurs.
Okay, so these resistance to be entrepreneurs. Okay, so that would be the priority then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, okay. So there's a number of things and there's a few layers to this. So one, you need to know what's the end result. Like I know this is something that's ever evolving. So it's not like they go through this process with you and then they're magically fixed and like that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an ongoing, ever evolving process. But like what's the hope or the goal once they go through this container with you or they go through your framework?
That they would have the peace of mind with a system and a ritual that works for whatever their capacity is that they're juggling. So it's like if this is my 10-minute moment in the morning that I have to carve out, if this is the evening routine, if this is how getting groceries delivered instead of going to the store and just paying that extra fee, like they'll have some type of short blueprint of this is how I can navigate the next step so that I'm not at risk.
Okay. So I guess one of the first, okay, so that's good. So reverse engineer from there, then think about the touch points that need to happen, right? So the person, so there, you have to think about it this way. There's three types of ideal client or customer. There's the informed, there's the afflicted, and there's the oblivious person, right? So the person
Mm-hmm.
who is informed, naturally, it's easier to speak to them and to engage with them, create touch points, and ultimately convert them. Then there's a person who is afflicted, like they know something's off, but they can't quite put their finger on it. And they're just like, okay, how they're looking for symptoms, like what they're searching for the symptom that they're experiencing and looking for a solution to that symptom, but they don't actually know what the deeper issue at hand is. And then there's a person who is oblivious. And this is the person who's like, they know something's off, they figured a way how to live with what they're experiencing, right? And believe it or not, the people who are oblivious are the largest segment of the market that's underserved.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when you're creating content, think about those three segments of people: the informed, the afflicted, and then the oblivious. You can interchange your content around that, because those ultimately, the path that they're going to take is all the same. It's just that first connection point is going to be different. It's going to be very specific to who they are. So maybe break it down. Now we still have some time. What would be the thing that you would say? We've talked about the person who is informed. What about the person who is afflicted and the person who is oblivious?
That's a good point, because I haven't really pondered on those two specific. The way that I've been looking at customers is just like, this is the demographic, psychographic, and they kind of know, like, I want a better quality of life, so how do I make these changes? So I'm not sure. I would have to think about the oblivious to it.
Okay, here's the thing though. The person, like, it's good to know like the psychographics and the demographics, but think about where that person is right now in their life, right? Like, speaking to specific life situation. So whatever that transition is, whether it's newly married, whether it's recently separated, whether it's the first child, whatever, relocation, whatever that change is, like speaking to that person specifically based off of where it is that they are.
You're right, because I came across a potential customer that they were in the midst of. They had just experienced a loss in their family, and then another sudden death within the 30 days of that happening. And because of those two deaths, they had to relocate. And so it was like, I'm in the midst of packing up boxes and doing this thing, but I'm also grieving my mom and my husband at the same time. And it was like, who's there to support you? And it's like, I have, these people right here, but the support is not there. Everybody else is like children and grandchildren, and they're kind of not in the same boat because they haven't had to uplift their life. On top of that, like, okay, now I can't be in this home. And they were also going back to work because now they didn't have the stability and income. So it's like, after 15 years of not working, I'm entering the workforce. So it was like all these changes at one point in time. And it's like, okay, what has to happen now? It's like, first, I really have to get moved. They were on track to like buying a new home, but they weren't all the way there yet. So it's like, okay, how can we get you moved? How do we get something in place that you actually can take a moment and pause for the grief you're experiencing? Because you're just like running, doing things, and there's deadlines, right? So it's like within that time, there's some things that have to be done, and there's some things that can be delegated. And so, in that, they were actually aware like that there was a problem. It was just they didn't know that there could be a solution with it. That was just like, okay, I'm doing all these things, but the solution is just me to do it.
Are you gonna be creating video content?
I have to.
I think you should, because I'm just like, when you're saying all this stuff, I'm like, people are going to connect with this if you're like creating video content around this.
I'm not a camera girly. I'm
Who cares? Neither am I.
I know. And that's my 2026, is because I can talk to people in person and navigate that, but it's like in online space, I'm like,
I feel like I'm the most awkward person, but I don't care. I'm like, it's either it's going to resonate or it doesn't. Like, if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, great. Because the people who it's going to resonate with, they're the ones that are going to keep being engaged, and those are the people who are going to be like, okay, I want to learn more, right? So I think that I'm gonna be watching. I need to see you create video content.
Okay.
And then from that, and here's the thing, you don't need to like reinvent the wheel. It's like, even based off the video content, you can create like carousels and things like that, other like mediums of content from that as well. But I think your anchor should definitely be video content.
Okay. All right, Krista.
What? No, but I mean, like people connect with people, right? So like, you need to be able to have, and it's something very personal. It's something that's very intimate, and something that people are going through. So it's very important that you create content, that the content, I know your content is going to be great, but just creating that connection and that touch point. And then, so let me just quickly help you map out like your funnel right now. So we kind of talked about the content. You ultimately want to lead them to being on your email list.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get on your email list, what's going to happen?
They'll get a welcome email. I'll send out emails like once a month or so. I'm trying to do like a week. No.
No, at least once a week. Because if you send an email once a month, they're gonna forget that you exist. So I would suggest you stick to one day between Wednesday, Tuesday, and Friday. Thursdays really do well for engagement with emails.
Okay.
Send it before 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, so we need to be sending content at least once per week.
Okay.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you can schedule this ahead of time. Like I schedule like things for December was scheduled in November. So you just think a month in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And then that also forces you to be organized and think about, okay, like where am I leading people to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is that. And then you decide, when do you want to like let it be known that, or do like a somewhat of like a beta or soft launch of your entrepreneurial offer?
It will need to be Q1. So by March, I would say by mid-March would be ideal. Um, because another thing that I'm planning right now within the space is a retreat for October. And that's the end of October. So I was just like adding that information to the website. It's only like going to be for 8 people. It's going to be in Dominica. It's workplace and retreat. And we were going to like work like under each category, like have the work within your systems, the play as far as engagement, and then within the wellness sphere and doing things like locally with people on the land and some traditions, and then also making connections to see like other entrepreneurs. So like I have to promote that,
Yeah,
and I'm
and
just trying to, yeah.
and I think it's going to be easier to convert people into the retreat when people have worked with you.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think that you should at least, and I'm challenging you, you do with that as you may, every month do some kind of push, not necessarily for the retreat, but for people to work with you. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be like a full launch, but just presenting the offer very clearly and maybe having a stretch of time where you're letting them know what you do, how it is that you can help them, and what the necessary next steps are.
Okay.
Um, have you okay, so that's what your emails are going to look like. Then you're going to get people to, and then you said that you have products as well. What products is it that you have?
Shea butter, oil, and sprays. And they're all scented based on the elements earth, fire, air, water. And then based on the ingredients, like right now it's all set, but I wanted to link them back to the life changing event that someone will be experiencing. So if you need to feel more grounded because you're relocating, or, going through some type of transition where you want to have more fire energy. So, and then have those products to promote those feeling. So right now it's just as is as a collection, but I wanted to be more intentional with mapping it to that because I wanted to be clear, like I'm not a shea butter dealer. Like I'm not I'm not the shea butter lady. Um no, so because I mean there's lots of people that share like sell skincare and room and things like that, but these are like very specific to like these elements, and that also ties back to the astrology part of it, where based on your sign, if you want to have something to pull out within yourself to use these specific products.
Okay. Um, okay. So the first launch or beta launch where is going to be, you said March, mid-March, and that's going to be the 8-week program.
Right.
Okay. And what's the pricing of that? Let's kind of like what does that look like in terms of pricing and touch points?
Right. And I struggled with the pricing on it because initially when I built it out, it was for 6 weeks, not 6 weeks, it was for 6 months, but it was like less less
That's
touch.
too long. People
Yeah.
are not going to commit to something that long. I mean,
And
yeah.
I know, but within like the 8 weeks, it was more around like 1,000 or 1,200, but
Oh,
too low.
okay. Well, you could start off at 1,000 or 1,200 for now,
Mm-hmm.
and um, then increase it. Don't worry about being affordable because people find money for things that they want to pay
Right.
for, right? So I mean, yeah, you could start right now at 1,000 for 8 weeks. Okay, that's and then is that in like a one-on-one setting or is that in a group setting?
For the most part, it's going to be me meeting one on one and then them being invited to a space where they could be a part of the group setting.
So then is the group setting like an upsell?
No, it's just a part of it.
So okay, so what's the purpose of the group setting then? Is it that continued support?
Right, just to have conversations, other point of view that may be able to offer insight.
And then where is this other the group going to be living? Like where is it?
Zoom.
Okay, so okay. So it's not something that they would have like consistent touch points. It's just like
Well, if they did, because I also have a school, like school.com, that I was going to shift people into that space.
mhm.
And that's where I wasn't sure if like the best dynamic, because the schools that I've been have been like very niche down to like things that I like. But as far as like what content people want on the ongoing basis after, I wasn't sure. So I like two posts and it's just been on pause to figure out, do I want everybody in here on this school?
Okay. So the goal is to launch this offering in March,
Mm-hmm.
like at let's say at $1,000 for 8 weeks. I just don't understand and maybe you can take some time, think about it, and then shoot me an email, let me know what you've decided to do. But I'm just not sure that it's a bit of a disconnect between the one-on-one and then the group program, like the
Mm-hmm.
group segment of it. So it's like if it's gonna be one-on-one, then let it be one-on-one. The only reason I could see it being one-on-one and group is if there's like an upsell to like the group where it's
Mm-hmm.
ongoing, and maybe that ongoing could be like a monthly subscription or something like that.
No, that's a great point because like the group that I have established now, which like half already want to like do the retreat and everything, a question had came up of how intimate can we keep this space, because it was like we like the small group, we consistently do, but like having like there's an NDA, but like having people that pop in or may not be as consistent or you just don't know, and then like growing that space, it's like how do we maintain the integrity of everybody in there, like sharing, like being real? Because like you mentioned, like a lot of the things we're all navigating are personal. And so it's like you don't want to just be like, oh, sharing this with like some stranger who you may or may not see next week. Um,
Right.
so that's where it's kind of like I didn't want to promote fully with a group because I don't know, like 100 people, 200 people, like I don't necessarily want all those energies. I kind of like to keep it close and together.
So maybe that core group of people, then they should be in like a subscription model then.
Okay.
So that way it they're invested and you're getting something in return for like showing up for them.
Right. I like that.
Then the group thing, then you're gonna have to. That's still not clear to me, but maybe I'll leave that on you to figure out like what does that look like. But then, I mean, that core group of people who are like, we want to keep this place sacred and all this stuff, then maybe putting them into some kind of subscription model.
Okay.
I know I've been talking. Do you have any questions?
No, I like listening to you talk.
I don't like listening to myself. Okay, so that's what. Okay, so we've talked about your content, we've talked about your sales funnel, we talked about the touch points. So when they enter your sales funnel, I want you to map out like that welcome email to like the that sequence. Like I want you to tell me like what that looks like. And here's the thing, you don't want to keep that sequence really long. Like it should be like 3 to 5 emails at max. People know that you're ultimately going to sell them something. They're not like oblivious to that by any stretch. So with that being said, that's that first email where it's like, hey, you're here because of this is who I am, this is how I can help you. and then try to get people to engage as quickly as possible. So like even in that email, the first email, saying something like, hey, like I'm Ashley, I'm a mom, blah 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 blah, these are some things about me, let me know who you are and where you are in the world, something like that. Something that's easy for them to click reply and let them know, let them tell you who they are. And then just kind of, and then kind of track that as well too, right? Like track those things, because that will allow for there to be like that intimate connection right away, right? And really building trust. And I think that one of the things that I've noticed this year is that people have dropped the ball tremendously on like nurturing trust, right? And trust is a
Mm-hmm.
core part of like life and business. And with so much happening in the world and things being so chaotic, it's important for you to just double down and really think about how it is that you can make trust the pillar of everything that you build.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like the idea of doing the retreat. Have you like secured dates yet? Like, have you?
That's what I'm working on now, because initially I was planning for September, and then as I was coordinating with the people there, it was October was the best time, the end of October. So right now I'm actually waiting for a call back to, because I wanted us all in the same place. Like, so I was trying to get like near the beach so that we're all in the same type of beach space. But I'm not sure if all of those rooms will be available. So then I have to see like what's close by. I have like made arrangements to secure a van so everybody can like still go together, because the thing about it is during like Creole Fest as well. And so it's like an overlap, because I didn't want it to be boom, 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 like, because it's Creole Fest and everybody coming from all over, and there's going to be a lot of busyness, but it kind of overlaps to when it ends, because Creole Fest is the 23rd through the 25th. And I was thinking of before, well, I'm going to be there before and after anyway, but coming in like that Thursday and then carrying into like Tuesday, so that when people leave, we can do like a reset ritual. And then once they fly home, there's going to be a takeaway, so that once you regrounding after all that traveling and energies, to have their home ritual of like, okay, now I'm fully reset to start the next thing that I plan to do while I was there.
Okay. So the thing I would want you to do as well, and this will show you how serious people are, is to get a deposit ASAP.
Okay.
Um, People like to say, yeah, I'm committed. And it's like they can be committed until they don't put their money where their mouth is at, right? So
Right.
yeah, so I would suggest that you get a deposit for that. And then do you know what the pricing for that looks like?
I'm working on it, because I mean, overall, like, I don't want to, I'm trying to decide on what I want to be responsible, because like flights there, yeah,
Yeah, they're
right.
responsible.
Like that, I didn't want to have to.
So you're
Hmm?
going to be responsible for accommodation, food.
Right, accommodation. I have like a chef that's going to do food, and then there's actual workshops that are going to take place there. So it's not just like we're going to be tourists and go sightseeing in all these places, but actually do some workshops. You'll go on the beach, meditation, and then so it's not all then do some like system work, how to leverage AI, and see if there's any opportunities from the business owners there to connect. Like one person that was coming specifically wants to connect with business owners that make different traditional attire to use with her business with young girls who are going through their lady cycle. So like there's different elements of like, I know there's people that buy in that want to go and have a specific outcome.
Right.
But that's where I'm kind of like, I wanted to build out that where people can go to these specific sessions and then also explore, and then also if you want to like sightsee, do that, but it's not just like I'm going to another country with a group of people to be tourists. Like that's what I don't want.
Right. So how much money do you want to make from this?
And it wasn't about making the money, right? And
Okay, if you say so.
that's what I'm, because I mean, the thing is, it's like looking into accommodations and things. I can probably find something affordable where if everyone stays for like 5 or 7 days, that the actual stay itself will be like less than $600. Now, they're actually facilitating the workshop and like flying the materials that I need there and getting all that. That's like another 100 plus per person. But then outside of that, it's like that's material costs, that's accommodation costs. But if it's like me doing all the thing costs, like that hasn't been factored into the price.
Yeah, so you need to, right? So you need to. So think on that, but you also want, like, even if you don't, it's not profitable, like there's not a big profit margin, like you're using this as marketing. Like that's how you kind of look at it. So like I had this mentor who she was doing these, she was going from city to city throughout the US, and then she did come here to Toronto like once. And like when I think about how much she charged for the event and for her travel and her stay, like it wasn't about her making money, but it was a way for her to really connect with people one-on-one, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, that's what I would look at. I would look at how, what you want in return for it.
Mm-hmm. Right, because I definitely do want content for
And
marketing.
then you probably could hire someone locally to,
Mm-hmm.
so so you have to factor in all of those costs. And
Mm-hmm.
as you think about it too, you're going to think about, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that, and you want to factor in all of those costs as well.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. I'm writing this down.
No worries. Any questions? I feel like I just been talking.
No, no, this is all really great because this is what I needed to do to pivot. And we just have to talk more too, because I want to make sure those funnels are really clear. Because the thing is, I know things can happen fast. Like right now, everything that I'm doing to support other people, I'm doing for myself, not optimally, because I work full time, I homeschool full time.
You
I
have
have,
children, right? Two?
yeah, I birthed two. I have a bonus son, so there's 3, 8, 6, and 1. And so, but the 8-year-old's in school, the younger two are home, and so juggling that, and then like another thing where I wanted to go like the HR route with B2B is because I know this about myself. Like when working in different organizations and with different people, like right now, we went through like a really big reorg. A third of the workforce is gone. So it's like, okay, who's going to project manage, like bringing the organization back to baseline? And what do we need to do to raise morale, to build that trust, to ensure that people can navigate the transition? So me, I'm on the project, right? Where it's like this $1 million budget to like, what do we need to do to make this happen in 2 years so that we can meet all of our metrics with all of the things that we have, as well as like not just have this high turnover because people are unsure if they're going to be laid off or let go, or really getting more benefits fully because they're small. There might be 30 people there with like a $28 million budget. So it's like there's like when you say what's the size of an organization, like it's really the size and then the budget that they have to long to go with it. So it's like where I'm doing this for them, I've done it in other spaces where I'm like, I know this is a need. There's always transition. When you look at retention rates, when you look at like the silver tsunami of people leaving the workforce and who's going to fill that gap, and then like people that don't have the same trust and loyalty with Gen Z or Alpha on the rise, where it's like we don't know how to fill that middle thing, or how we don't know how to meet the needs of the people. So it's like, okay, now I'm doing all of that there. And as much fun as it is, I want to use that as like a bigger learning opportunity, but I also want to walk away from it and do it for myself
Okay,
because
so that's what's gonna be okay. My next question to you. So like what is like your quit my job date?
well, it was put in notice December 19th. That was my plan. It hasn't really changed. It's just that I was trying to figure out my own systems and funnels so that, well, I feel super comfy because I'm like, okay, the biggest pain point with the job that I have is that it requires me to go in office more than
Then
when I initially started. So
okay,
like now it's like 12 days where it was 8 before, with
okay.
some flexibility with time off and things like that. So now it's like you're demanding more of my presence, but I still have multiple things that I'm doing. And I think they're kind of aware of it. I'm sure they see me on social media here and there and all that stuff. So it's not that big of a deal, but it's like I have shifted a lot more projects off of my plate. so that the workload itself is lighter. So right now I'm just kind of in this limbo space where I wanted to do it the 19th, and I'm like, I was told maybe you should pause because there might be another round of layoffs, and I'm like, but I'm like, I don't want to pause like my own things. So I'm like,
Right.
the more that I can get like the funnel super clear, and I can have everything in a really organized manner for myself, then based on like all of my needs, like with me doing things at the loft is satisfying requirements for homeschool as well. So it's like, and I'm trying to build my own co-op because there's I met another homeschool mom that's an entrepreneur who had to recently go back to using the school system. They're Muslim and they weren't having their child wasn't having a good experience. So they're like, hey, they're getting suspended. We're probably going to go back to homeschool next year. We just haven't found a co-op where they have that socialization, because that's usually the main thing is like, how are they getting socialized, and is it super expensive to do? Because there's some things where it's like $300 per kid to do one event versus someone paying $300 a month. Like there's all these different points, but that was another person where I'm like, okay, yes, this is an ideal person where it's like, you are entrepreneur, you are running a business, you have 3 children, you've tried homeschool, you've tried public school, you prefer homeschool, but you know that you don't have the support and framework in place with your varying ages of children. So it's like all that's becoming even more important to me now. So it's like, what just balloons until I'm like, I got a deuce.
Okay, so I like to like talk about money. So like how much money do you need to bring in to feel like you're not stressed? Because I that's one thing that I find a lot of women like, okay, I'm gonna jump into this, and then it's like so
I mean, I think with all avenues, I would be super comfortable with just 10K months. Like,
just
and
just 10K.
just 10K, like
Yeah.
nothing like super crazy. And I want to be able to like, because when I transition out, like we have vending machines, and I'm like, I could just focus on the vending machines, because that was a whole nother. I was looking at an assistant to do market research, because it's like we have them at PwC and Deloitte and like big firms, but it's like we sell Pepsi, Coke, Doritos standard, but I'm like, the demographic may want Pocky Sticks and other type of things, but I'm like, I haven't dug into those analytics. I know everybody wants Diet Coke and energy drinks, but as far as the other things that go stale, where I'm like, before it expires, I could bring it to the loft and we could use it with the children. So I'm trying to like make that circle go. But I'm like, I would have other things to do, but I think 10K months between all of the things would really just be like, okay, I'm cool. Like if it went up a little or down, it wouldn't completely stress me. And the other part that I'm working on right now too, because it's multiple things, is within the loft. The loft is just the loft, and then it's like my business workplace in, and then what other entrepreneurs do to host things here right now, like as it's starting. But I want it to be a nonprofit because I know there's a lot of funding available here to do some of this work and do it from like the heart work part of it. And so that's where I'm like filling out that application. I'm waiting until the new tax year so I don't have to worry about 2 tax years to really make it a holistic of me, where it's like I can do this with people navigating it. If they have homeschool children, there's a place that they can be here and have these experiences. If they want to go deeper and look at it as far as the stars and the cosmos and custom to them, like all of it into one. But yeah. And when I say 10K months, that's like the ideal comfortability. But I mean, the reality is I wouldn't be upset if it was half of that. Just like
Okay. Just okay. That's fair. Okay, so what do you have any questions for me before I
so what do you think, like what that I could present more outside of like making the video so that it's like more clear to like really, because I'm in a niche of my own. I feel like when I look at what could be the possible competitors, there's like project management people who work with CEOs and they get their systems and operations in place, and I'm not that person. And then there's someone that does like Zen yoga, may have a wellness studio, and they're just having specific yoga classes. I am a yoga teacher. I'm certified to do that. I have done it over the summer, but I don't want to be like the yoga teacher person. So it's like really honing in as like a combination of both, like the integrated part. and really just standing out. Because then I see like astrology people that are like, you know, astro businesses and planning your business around the stars, where it's like, I don't want to be presented as too like woo woo, like not that it matters, but I'm not like all woo woo
Right.
with it. So
Right.
that's why I wanted to have like a second layer within those containers, where it's like, if you want to parent by the stars and say I'm a Leo with a Taurus child, like things to be aware of as far as temperament. And I want to be able to present that in a way that's digestible, but I don't know the best way, like what you would need to see in order for that to be clear to you.
Right. So one, like the offers need to be mapped out.
Mm-hmm.
So like um yeah, so I know like the one-on-one with like the entrepreneur stuff, and then the corporate offer. We're gonna call it the corporate offer. So the corporate offer that needs to be mapped out as well, like what the
Mm-hmm.
flow of that. So I think if you know you have that all mapped out, then you can reverse engineer and think about what the touch points need to happen beyond, like within those offers.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you already kind of know what kind of content to create. In terms of your funnel in it of itself, there's no point in building the funnel until you're very clear on what those offers are,
Mm-hmm.
how you want to show up for those people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
um so I mean, like, do you need help with building out your funnel, or like what kind of?
Yeah, I do. Because
Okay.
right now it's like non-existent. But I'm like, within the last like 72 hours is when I was really hashing out like, okay, how do I make this more clear? So like, you have time later today. There's still some things that need updated. But if you go to workplayzen.com, you can kind of get more of a feel. Because like me, the overarching of me in general is that I've learned between being in HR, being in project management, and where they
The
meet.
Workplace Zen. Is it
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Workplacezen.com. I think the key is legacy documentation, and that's what lacks on both ends, whether it's someone passed away and I don't know where insurance policies are, or whether it's, you know, you had an event at work and now that person's no longer in the office and we don't know how to recreate that event, or we don't have any artifacts or lessons learned that we could build upon, that if we wanted to truly step away from our business or step away from the place, that this will be passed on. And I had did research as far as Black owned businesses specifically, although I didn't want to like promote that and shoehorn myself into that space. But past the second generation, most businesses don't last, and it's usually because of the succession planning, because of the trust, because of the decision making. There's like so many areas where it's like, if this was just clear, then you wouldn't have like the business owner passed away and now there's just flowers and it's like another business gone. And so it's like, I really am passionate about like how, like I've seen it happen multiple times. I've seen it happen, like I said, just in HR with people not having things, or they missed the deadline and they couldn't convert and someone passed away and they don't have insurance where they thought they had insurance, where there's some critical things where it's like you probably need some hand holding because it can change your life again completely if it's not there. And so that's where like all these things come into play, because I don't think it's just build the system and everything will be okay. It's like the whole person and making sure that's all in place. So like that's where I found a patchwork way to do it for myself. Like when I put it all on paper and like, okay, you're doing these things while managing all these things and doing it within the same 24 hours. I know there's opportunities to make it fine tuned, so it's not even as much on myself, but other people really having that too. So it's like, if you build something and you want it to last, if you have an organization and you want the people to be onboarded with clear outcomes of like, this is why we do it this way, because this didn't work, because I've built SOPs, I've built work plans and workflows in Asana, where it's like, now instead of having this invoice process here and this here, like it's all getting triggered through an Asana, which comes with a fee, but not every entrepreneur wants to use that route. So I try to use like low cost tools for entrepreneurs specifically. Like if we could just leverage Google and using their system or something. Some are nonprofits, so they're able to get the free Google Workspace, but it's like, you don't have to have this big bell and whistle thing. You really just have to like document, which I'm speaking to myself at the same time. It's like But it's like it's easier to do it for other people.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, you're not as attached to it. So it's like, okay.
Exactly. So yeah.
Okay. So how can I help you?
Well, after I map all this out and update the site, I really would like to meet with you to really see like, okay, where you can have like where you being me, like a better funnel system so that it's this. I want it to be super easy because it's like when I meet people, the people that know me know what I do, but it's like I feel like it's just a lot that doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
So it's like,
are you collecting emails yet or no?
I am.
Okay.
I did. I'm like adding more because I did over the summer. I did farmers market, so then I met a lot of people at the farmers market to join the email list, and then that's where I'm gearing up to with like what exactly do I want to promote? I don't want to just be like, here's these shea butter products, but tying it back to like a life changing event. So if they want to gift it for somebody or something, it's more intentional and not just like Sephora.
So you want the products so do you want to lead with the products then? Like I'm just trying to think about like what your funnel will look like.
We'll see, and that's the thing. Leading with the products wasn't necessarily the case, although it's a lot on hand. It's easier to like, it's a physical thing that people can have tangibly. But I was leading with service in general because I didn't want to get shoehorned into I'm this shea butter product person. So that's why I wanted to tie it back to like the life event. So it's like the person who has this for this specific reason.
Okay. So how can I help you? Because I think you need to be clear on that because I mean building out a funnel, it's not a static thing, it's something that's ever evolving. So, I wish this thing let me see if I can share this with you. So like in terms of like being able to build out the funnel, let me see if I can find it here. Like there's certain things that need to be in place, right? And in order for that to work properly. Okay, so do you think you have a funnel? Let me first start there. Do you think
No.
Okay, why you don't think you have a funnel?
Because in my mind, a funnel would have like this clear pathway of like you said, touch well here. If you come in, you buy this. But I feel like it could be right now it's just a one and done experience. Like, okay, like we work together, that's done. You bought this product, that's done. But there's no like you're being led down this specific path. If you choose to go, it's there, but it's not like a clear here's where I need you to go.
Okay, so let me kind of share with you like a playbook of how like it would work, and then like I will leave you with that, and then let's see. So let me know if you can open that.
Okay.
I'm gonna also maybe put the slides in here as well.
Okay, yes, I'm able to open it.
Let's put the slides as well. It's kind of cool. Other people didn't show up, but you got to get a full-on strategy session. So
It's a win. I know. Like it's perfect time too. So I'm pretty sure we have people coming in the door for this event to start, and I haven't seen you in a long time.
No, and those are the slides as well. So I mean, yeah. So that's kind of like my offer in terms of like, it's called Sales Funnels That Convert. That's like my signature offer, and this is where like I do a lot of the build out myself, but like you're giving me the information so that I can build it out. What are you using to store emails? Are you using like MailChimp, ConvertKit?
I have Flowdesk, and like GoDaddy has like this built-in thing that I'm trying to figure out, but Flowdesk.
Okay. And okay, so what I think is important is you know, you let me know. We have another call, maybe it could be before the year's out or in January, just to kind of map out everything, um and then by doing that, it's getting built in real time. And you can have something to just kind of test it out and see how it goes. And then if there's any changes or anything like that, we can make those changes to it.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm going to look through this and I'm on it. I'm so glad you had this right before the year ends. I feel like you have a good kickstart.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions before I let you go?
No, you answer them for me.
Okay. And I'll give you the link as well for it's like the sales page for it as well. I'm just dropping in the chat.
Okay, great. Perfect. I got it open.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Krista.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Well, if we don't speak before the year's out, do you celebrate the holidays?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you doing anything? Are you have any plans?
We're going to Florida.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, another time for me to decompress and get some content and be in the
Okay.
sun. Right now we're about to have a snowstorm of
Yeah,
5.
we're about to have it's sunny, but I know there's more storm coming. So
So yeah, I'll be around.
okay. All right. Well, I'll leave that with you. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me.
Alrighty.
Yeah, but get on this. I think this could definitely be lucrative, especially the B2B offering and like just like the licensing. And I can tell you um, more about. We can like go into more details about like what it looks like, how to position it. Because at the end of the day, it's the messaging that's going to matter the most, right? Because it just has to resonate with them, right?
Yeah, let's because I also want to do B2B with the shea butter as well. And that has come up with like some salons and spaces. So yes, we will talk.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Talk soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.